Congratulations to the win. You scored 25 points, dished out 10 assists, grabbed 5 rebounds, and had 3 steals. How were you able to do that?
Well, first of all, thank you. About the 25 points, I mean, I played basketball since I was 8 years old, so, I have a pair of legs, I have a pair of arms, I have 10 fingers altogether, so, I know how to dribble the ball, and the NBA made sure that the ball was filled with air so you could bounce it. So I dribble the ball and I'd shoot it. You use your wrist and your fingers and you snap your wrist when you shoot. So sometimes I shot it within the 2-point area, sometimes outside of the 3-point line, and then it's worth 3 points. Sometimes I got fouled and I made the free throws. Although I had some problems when the opponent was standing in front of me playing defense. So what I would do is that I'd make some behind the back dribble moves, crossovers, which sometimes worked and which ended up in that the opponent wasn't in front of me anymore. So I had an open basket and I made my shots, layups, and dunks. Speaking of the assists, well, you can make a pass in basketball. You're allowed to pass your teammates. Pass it from my chest, you can pass it from your chest. Over the head pass, bounce passes, you can pass with one hand, which I did. I had to make sure that the opponents didn't intercept my passes or that I didn't pass it to the opponents or into the crowd. So I will usually aim towards the chest and hip area of my teammates. And I also had to make sure that my teammates were open for the shot. And when they're open, they usually make it. They usually make it because they're professionals and they get paid for doing that. The steals I got from intercepting passes and sometimes sticking my hand in the zone where my opponent is dribbling the ball, and I touched the ball and it got out of his dribbling zone and I got a hold of it, which created a turnover, and then sometimes we scored. And the rebounds, well, I usually box out the guy that I'm guarding, which makes it harder for him to grab the rebound, and then I stretch my arms out, jump, grab the ball, land, and that's basically how I did it.
Okay, thank you for that. What were your preparations before tonight's game?
Well, I usually stay away from junk food. Make sure to get some sleep. Work out. I go to basketball practice with the team. I go to the gym. I run. And before the game, I warmed up, stretch my body because I'm not a teenager anymore. So you gotta stretch your body so that you don't pull a muscle. I played some PlayStation, talked with my teammates and with my wife. Yeah.
Okay. You were down by 15 points in the third quarter. Your coach called a timeout. After this timeout, your team made an amazing comeback and won the game. What did your coach tell you?
Well, you're allowed to have a short timeout, which is like 20 seconds, and a long timeout is like 1 minute long. And sometimes they do these timeouts because they gotta run some ads and commercials on TV. But this wasn't actually the case because we were down by 15 points. So, we needed to win this game if we wanted to make it to the playoffs. So the coach said, score more points and don't let them score more points, or at least try to minimize their scoring and maximize your scoring. And we were able to do that because the ball went into the basket, and when they tried to make the ball go into the basket, we were in their way. So it didn't work out for them, but it worked out for us.
All right, one question more. You've got a home game in 3 days against another top team in the league. What are your thoughts on that game?
Well, we played an away game here in Washington, so it's a pretty long way home. luckily our team is rich and we have resources, and we live in a 21st century, so we can travel by airplane home and be home in a few hours. So it's good that we don't have to go travel with a horse and carriage or a train or something like that. So first of all, we need to make sure to get home to Chicago, and then when we get home, like I mentioned before, we sleep and we eat and we rest, and then we practice and we rest before the game again. And when we get to, we need to make sure to get to the arena where the game is being played. And some of my teammates, they take the subway because they care about the environment. I'm a bit lazy, so I take my car to the arena, and then we show up a few hours before the game. And then once the game starts, we need to score a lot of points, and then we can't let our opponents score a lot of points, or at least not as many points as we're going to score, because we want to win and make it to the playoffs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.